even though we call ourselves funding for bootstrappers, a lot of people say, hey, that's an oxymoron. It's because I'm sort of on a little bit of a mission to sort of kill this term bootstrapping in the sense of it meaning, I'm going to build a company with literally no forms of outside capital. I think we like this term because it basically contrasts specifically with this kind of very unique form of funding that is all about, trying to really swing for the fences, build a billion-dollar company or die trying. That's venture capital. And what I'd like to do is to move us towards a world that I think a lot of people up here are all participating in, is where it's just a spectrum. You can raise funding, and there's a lot of different ways to sort of build a company and involve investors in some way. And so when I think about bootstrapping, I think of it more as talking about growing the company sustainably, building a sort of, quote unquote, real business that has, revenue from customers, that has profits, that is sort of default alive, that it's not requiring that you have to raise more and more capital to stay around, that you just sort of persist because you have a good product that people buy and pay money for. And I think there's a lot of interest right now in figuring out how we can also involve investors in that process without really shifting everything that everything about the strategy and the entire process of building a company. So that's what I think about it.
Yeah, and I think an important thing to remember is that no matter what, whether you end up raising money or funding it yourself, it's about focusing on the right things. And whether that's getting users or gaining traction or gaining revenue, if you have money, that doesn't mean you're going to be able to do that or not going to be able to do that. It's about focusing on the right goals for your business.
I love that. It's all about focus. Actually, Sam Altman talks about this a lot. He said most startups don't die because of lack of funding. They die because of lack of focus. And that is too true, because like I said, I was full-time on my futon with my last company, bootstrapped for the first 2 years. That was how I paid my bills. But guess what? When I got in YC and I got my first little $100,000 check, guess what? I treated it like a tax refund, Like, I just bought, trips for everyone. And the good thing about bootstrapping is that you get creative. When you don't have $1 million just to mess around with and find product market fit, you have to find the quickest path to profitability. So yeah, don't get fussed about those funding rounds. 95%, actually more VC-funded startups die than bootstrapped. I know we're going to change this game. What would you change it to if not bootstrapped? Self-funded?
Yeah, I don't know. I mean, this is a bit of a wormhole, I get, a rabbit hole, but because I think people have very strong opinions about this. But I mean, self-funding is pretty good. I just think, I don't know. I invert this around, which is how. I just don't think bootstrapping should be part of your identity, right? Because capital is just a tool, right? Why would you wouldn't say we are a startup and we define our identity as a startup by the fact that we don't ever use email, right? It's we don't use outside capital. Capital is just a thing alongside all the other tools that you have, and you really shouldn't necessarily define your company by that. You should just kind of use what's best for you, I guess. And I don't know, we'll figure out the words later. So.
Yeah. So Emma, that was a great point about focus. What do you think that founders in early stage companies should prioritize at these very early baby bird days?
Yeah, I mean, I think it's about setting a goal and figuring out what that key metric is that's going to make your company succeed. For us, it was when we switched from being a transactional model to a membership model, it completely changed the way that we run our business and increased engagement and made it feel like a very concrete thing that we were working towards. And so I think having that focus of waiting until you get to that inflection point, and that's when you figure out how to either put more money in it or hire more people and really grow it past that point. But if you bring money in before you feel that, it's not going to help you get to that point. It's really just about focus and making sure your goals are aligned with the long-term vision.
That's so true. You can definitely raise too early when the capital won't even be useful at that point.